All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. So Spider's getting a little bit of a bounce here today. You can see we sold off here in the morning, and then they kind of set the trap there right at the lows. Right after Biden was speaking, they pushed it lower, then closed it back above this little pivot low here. And then we got a major league short squeeze, about 10 handles here, a little over 10 handles actually on the SPY in about an hour to an hour and a half here of trading. Then pulling way back off the highs here, so bears trying to push it back down. Then a bit of a lower high here. And now trying to kind of test the lows here a little bit again, but we'll see what we get into the close here. One thing I'll notice though is the triple Qs is outperforming the spiders, as is the Russell 2000. So triple Qs, which has been lagging lately, is actually outperforming a little bit here. A lot of that is helped out by Tesla, up 3% on the day. Nvidia getting a nice bit as well, up just under 2%, and helping the semiconductors out there. So let's see if we get into the close here. You can see on the daily, or actually the hourly, I should say, if you take a look, there was also a falling wedge pattern that I pointed out on Twitter. We got this little this little low trend line right here, and then just such a sharp decline. You know, you can only get so oversold here in the near term before you have to have a pop, and then now you're starting to put in a little kind of a bullish inside bar here on the hourly. So we'll see, if the market can hold up, especially into the close. I'd expect a little bit more upside, maybe going into tomorrow or the next day. One thing I find interesting though is that you go back here and look back to the 14th of February on the intraday. That is right here. We're basically following the same direction here. So we had this move down and then a rally in the afternoon. Now we had a lower low this time, and then we rallied up into the close. But today, moved down, and then we had a higher high this time, and then a move down in the afternoon, and then kind of a rally possibly into the close here. We'll see what we get in the next 10, 20 minutes. But I find it interesting because if you look on the daily, it's really the same kind of pattern. So you had this big sell-off, then kind of a doji, and you rallied up into the close, then you had a relief the next 2 days. So what do we have here? Big sell-off, now a doji possibly finishing near the highs of the day. Would not be surprising to see a little bit of a bounce here in the next couple of days. So it seems like they've got that same algo turned on, and we'll see what we get going into tomorrow. It does look like the market wants to at least hold up here a little bit. Right at the lows, they did announce, or they did release some rumor about Zelensky not being committed to NATO, basically some BS. All they really needed to do was get shorts to cover. They wanted to push the market higher. So sometimes they just need to release a rumor, and that's what happens. So we'll see what we get tomorrow. The next trend line I'd be watching, though, if we were to start to really push up here, so I'm kind of keeping my eye on this here on the daily. So right in this range here. So that's what I would be interested in if we start to push higher. It does kind of coincide with that 20 moving average as well. So something to watch there moving forward. Overall, nice bounce for the spiders. Let's take a look at the Russell. Again, it talked about how this is outperformed here, up over 1% on the day, whereas the spiders is basically flattish to negative. Qs are flat to positive. So Russell outperforming again, and it's holding up pretty well. Dow kind of just performing with the average here, just flattish to negative as well. Nothing too spectacular going on there. Semis did regain a lot of the losses from yesterday. Pretty big surge in volume there too. So they did step up to defend this level. The problem is, you let this close below that green bar low yesterday. So that's just not a good sign there. You could also make a case that you have a head and shoulder here on the semiconductors. So we'll continue to watch this. If you close above this neckline, though, that pattern's failed. So just be aware of that. But semi's getting a little bit of that ground back today. IGV getting to double bottom, getting a little bit of bounce off of that. Nothing too crazy going on there. And the Dow transports as well. Putting in a doji pattern here, possibly putting in a higher low. We'll see what happens tomorrow, though, if this market can continue to get a bid. The Jets did finally get off the canvas, a little bit up 5%, but still a pretty brutal beat down there, as we've been talking about lately. Filled that gap, and now getting a little bit of a bounce off of that. So Jets kind of hanging in there for now, but still been an ugly sell-off there for that sector. Home builders, also coming off the lows here, a little bit of a doji there. VNQ, surprisingly, has held up really well. This isn't the worst kind of pattern here. So you have this, move up, then a green bar, and then kind of just choppy consolidation. If you could consolidate a little bit longer, this could possibly make a move up. So this isn't not a terrible pattern there on the VNQ, surprisingly. But that holding in there, hanging in there okay. Yields getting a little bit of a bid, so bonds, starting to back off a little bit, so kind of fears a little bit subsiding, maybe just a little bit here, but, bond yields up a little bit on the day. 30-year up 4.28%. And just kind of putting in a pattern here. We'll look for a pattern a little bit here more over the next week or so. But again, looking on the weekly, we had that big sell-off, the big dramatic sell-off, and now it's, recovering pretty nicely. So again, I said I don't expect bond yields to really sell off too much here. I do think there is going to be another leg up soon, and ultimately this is just a pullback pattern, but we got to see a little bit more here out of yields before they can make another move higher. Fins here on the weaker side, so XLF kind of flattish here, a little negative, getting a bit off this little trend line here, kind of kissing it. Broker dealers, not the best look today. So I mean, you do get a doji here. A lot of the times the doji can precede a reversal. But, just an ugly sell-off. You wanted to see some type of if you had closed up at the highs, it would have looked a lot better. We'll say it that way. You reclaim this tail low or something, that would have been a little bit more bullish. But broker-dealer's a little weak here. Morgan Stanley did get a bid off that level, so we talked about this area here at about 84. So it's getting a bit off of that. JPM got to that level I said that was going to hit, 127 and change. Got right there and now bouncing off of that. So that one may get a relief bid, maybe back up to 140 or so in the near term. Goldman also coming off the lows as well, and that is green on the day. So fins, hanging in there a little bit, but not the most robust bounce that we've seen. XLE, another big doji here on the daily. Huge volume here today. Take a look at Chevron. This to me looks like a blow-off move here. I know we talked about that yesterday. Look at the volume there. Let's look at Nvidia here. This really reminds me of this candle here specifically from the 4th of November on Nvidia. Just, have a huge run up. It's already overbought, extended, and then you have this massive blow-off bar here. And really the top is put in not long after that. I'm kind of seeing the same thing here on Chevron here and the XLE. Look at that volume there. So these energy stocks are just getting so extended and really long in the tooth, if you ask me. Speaking of energy, we did take a short today on SCO, so we shorted crude oil, and we got 13% on that in a matter of 2 hours. So that was a really awesome trade. We got it right at the lows, 492 as our entry, and we sold that at 556, I believe. So we still have we're still holding a runner position in that one, but nice to get it a nice winner booked in a matter of hours, really, and we're going to hold the rest of this one. Nice, we got stopped out a little bit on some of those other positions yesterday that we were holding. Market just having a absolute puke fest yesterday, as everybody is aware of, but nice to get a nice winner booked in pretty much no time at all. And I do think oil, there's nothing to say it can't, push a little bit higher here, but I think it's on borrowed time personally overall. Anyways, let's flip over the XOP here. Again, big fat doji on the daily time frame, and the same thing with the OIH. Look at that volume surge there as well into the highs there on the OIH. Nat gas continuing to pull back here a little bit, so backing off of that $5 handle, needs to put in a higher low here. If it makes a lower low of this pivot here, that would not be a good look. That would open it up for a move back to that $4 area, but for now it's holding up okay, but needs to put in a higher low here. All right, dollar index reversing off the highs a little bit. Again, got to my target of 99. Nothing to say it can't go higher, but it's really extended short term. And, if the market does get a bid here, it's probably going to pull back a little bit. First stop would be 98, and then obviously these pivots up here at 97.50. And then after that, you probably would back test a 97 handle. That would be your next logical area of support there. So right in that range. All right, gold. Let's flip over the 2-week gold contract. So gold contract came way off the highs here intraday. And, it's starting to creep back up here. I believe it made a new all-time high. Let me double check. It got really close. Okay, so we got up to 2078. See, the previous all-time high was, sorry, 1 second. There we go. 2089. So very close. So 11 bucks away from an all-time high here on gold continuous contract. So Pretty amazing move here. Now I will say the GDX did reverse pretty sharply, and we'll see what we get here. We are in the double top on gold, so we'll see if it pulls back a little bit. Again, if fear subsides a little bit, we get any sort of positive news, the market gets a bid or something, it's probably going to cause gold to back off a little bit. But any way you cut it, it's been a power surge here on gold. Also silver getting right through that 26 handle. So you had all this chop, and where'd you go? Right up to this previous breakdown at 27.50. So huge monster surge here on silver. Look at the volume there. Silver pulling back a little bit off the highs here. SILJ, big reversal candle there as well. So we'll see what we get tomorrow. Again, these things are very tied to geopolitical problems and fear as well. Platinum also getting through yesterday's highs. These commodities are just going all over the place. Totally bonkers here. You are under resistance up here. This is kind of where you broke down before, around that 1200 handle. And palladium, nice pop, but it is still way inside of this monster candle from yesterday. Copper continuing to pull back just a little bit, coming off the highs and backing off that $5 handle, finishing with a doji again here. But it did bounce off of that previous breakout area of 463. So, it's hanging in there for right now. Anyways, let's flip over here. All right, so Bitcoin. So we talked about this green bar low yesterday. They managed to save it here. So you came down, and then he started to pierce through that low, and they managed to pop it back up, finish with a doji candle. We'll see if this can get a little bit of a bid off of that. Again, if you close below that green bar low here, that would be very problematic for Bitcoin. I think it goes down to 30,000 really fast if that happens. But in the meantime, it is safe for right now in this area. And, again, if the market holds up, Bitcoin probably will hold up as well. All right, anyways, let's flip back over here to the spiders. Let's see where we're going to close at. So, yeah, made a lower low here intraday. They'll probably save it here. You got some chop in this range. We got about 10 minutes left in the trading day. We'll see what we get into the close. I have to think that we probably get a little bit of a bounce tomorrow, or at least some type of a continued move, at least if we're going to continue with this. I mean, it's really remarkable how similar these patterns are, right? So move up, sideways, up, and then back down, and then a little double top. 1, 2, 3, sell off, doji, and then you have a bounce. Well, what happens here? Sell off, then a pop, sideways, little double top, higher high, kind of double top, and then sell off with a doji. So we'll see if the algos turned on again tomorrow, and we'll see if we get a little bit of a bounce here. But again, resistance would be up here at this trend line, and obviously that gap window there at about 431, 432 if you manage to get up that high. Anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Take advantage of the free trial. I got a new course that just came out. It's absolutely killer. Phenomenal stuff inside of that. 4.5 hours of content. Come check it out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.